Roti John is the popular night meal in Malaysia and Singapore, commonly found at burger stalls. Long bun bread with egg and filling of your choice. Chicken, beef or mutton loaded with overflowing chili sauce, mayonnaise and artificial cheese sauce. However, there are claims that Roti John traced its origin in Singapore and reached its current recipe by late 1970s. That is the reason I visited Singapore to find the earlier version of Roti John that is so different than the present day Roti John sold widely in Malaysia. How the early Roti John looks like and how it changed into its saucy form today, and plus, who is actually Mr. John? Let's wander around HDB flats in eastern Singapore and tracing the origin of Roti John. After finishing my 9 to 5 duty, suddenly a kick of craving of Roti John appeared. Return to the office life is the reason I haven't posted video for quite a while. I decided to eat at Roti John Titi Wangsa near Datuk Keramat LRT station, convenient to visit. By referring to the social media, the queue could be long, but luckily when I visited there is a little queue. Let's try Roti John daging, which is beef, with free-flowing chili sauce and mayonnaise. Potato fries on the top is just an add-on. For most of the customers, the Roti John adventure simply ended here. But because this is Fami World Facts, I wonder how Roti John first appeared in the Malaysian food scene. Thus, the search for the first Roti John brought us to the southern neighbour of Malaysia, the Lion City. At this point, you might be wondering, why did I go to Singapore to seek the origin of Roti John? Roti John was not appeared on any classical Malay manuscripts and even colonial British documents. There is no record and story that the British colonial officers and Malay aristocrats eating Roti John in the early 20th century. You cannot find any. And thus, where does the Roti John originate? To understand the origin of Roti John, also the bread, and who is Mr. John, we need to look back into the time in the mid-20th century Singapore. Roti is the Malay word for bread, which is originated from Tamil word roti. It is unclear what type of bread was first called roti, but for sure, any type of bread that came to Southeast Asia is simply called roti in Malay language. Unknown to many in Malaysia, baguette, which is a type of bread commonly eaten in France, is widely baked and sold in Singapore due to the existence of large European communities since the mid-19th century. As such, it is relatively easy to find baguette in Singapore, albeit less popular than more common white sandwich bread. The relationship between baguette and Roti John will be found later in this video. Meanwhile, John is a common English name of which derived from John the Baptist, a prophet in Christianity. As John is a common given name and is easy to pronounce by almost anyone in Singapore regardless of race and mother tongue, it is a kind of habit to call the stranger Englishman as simply as John at the time. Also in Malay language, it is common for Malays to call any white person, like anyone from Europe and American, as simply as Mat Saleh, and the term itself has an unclear origin in Malay lexicological history. Back to John, and this is where the unwritten history varied in the mid-20th century. According to National Archive of Singapore, it was the British armies in Sembawang Naval Base in northern Singapore who asked for a bread or a hamburger. Another version pointed out that it was the New Zealander armies, which is part of Commonwealth forces in Southeast Asia. Bread, including baguette, was a common hawker food in Singapore as it is cheap to produce, cheap to sell and easy to transport either by foot or by bicycle. At this point, the story starts to diverge of what ethnicity that introduced Roti John, but which ethnic created Roti John is less important thing here because Singapore is a multicultural, multiracial society. The folk story goes that a Malay hawker halved a baguette, dipped the inner side with egg and minced mutton and fried it on a pan. In another version based on an interview with Mr. P.R. Gopal in the year 2002, it was Indian Muslim hawker who sell baguette with egg to the stationed British soldiers near Quek Road in Orchard in the mid-20th century. It was assumed that a Malay hawker invited the British army who ordered the bread to pick up the order. Silakan makan ini roti, John, which could be poetically translated as, "Here's your bread, John." Perhaps by time or by misheard, people understand the phrases as "Silakan makan ni, Roti John," which means "Here it is, John bread." But the greetings can be shortened even further to be something like "Bread John," which is Roti John, and somehow the name Roti John stuck ever since. What are the proofs that Roti John came from Singapore and not from Kuala Lumpur or any other cities in Malaysia? 1. Baguette is more easily found in Singapore than in Malaysia. Old-time bakeries in Singapore still bake baguette as there is demand from European communities and baguette is more filling to the stomach than white sandwich bread. 2. There is no written record and photos of Roti John in Malaysia before 1980, of which by that year Roti John is already known throughout Singapore by this point. The earliest Roti John only remembered by the folk tales without an exact name of its inventor. As the literacy level increased, so does the documentation of Roti John in the form of newspaper articles. According to Berita Harian on the 8th of March 1973, Zawiyah Anwar sells Roti John at Pasar Geylang Serai with her own recipe. Unlike present recipe, she put peas and tomatoes into Roti John in addition to standard baguette, egg, minced meat and sweet onion. She sold up to 105 Roti Johns per day, but sadly the stall has been closed long time ago. However, Roti John sold at Geylang Serai Market is still far cry from today's Roti John. The most memorable Roti John ever sold in Singapore is sold in front of the main gate of Botanic Gardens. Syukur Stall Number 9 Makanan Istimewa, located at former Taman Serasi Food Centre, is known for its Western style food, even best known for its Roti John. Located across the main gate of Botanic Gardens next to Gleneagles Hospital and only 10 minutes bus ride from Orchard Road, made Taman Serasi Food Centre a popular little foodie place. Baguette half washed with beaten egg, sprinkled minced mutton, diced onion and homemade secret sambal make Syukur's Roti John different than Roti John sold at Geylang Serai, and unique among Roti John served elsewhere, the Roti John served with chopsticks instead of spoon and fork. Roti John sold by Syukur Stall Number 9 Makanan Istimewa was so popular that the stall can sell up to 800 loaves of Roti John on a particular weekend day. The food centre was closed in the year 2001 as the infrastructure of the food centre is aging and the land is used to widen Cluny Road. Today, the former location of Taman Serasi Food Centre is part of Cluny Road and Exit 1 of Napier MRT Station of Thomson East Coast Line. I talked about Thomson East Coast Line or TEL in the previous video, where the most expensive public project in Singapore up to date aim to link Singapore officially border to border between RTS Terminal at Woodlands North to T5 or Terminal 5 of Changi Airport, currently in construction. To know more about TEL, you can watch by clicking the link above. Click. After the closure of Taman Serasi Food Centre, there are only a few remaining stalls and restaurants selling Roti John made out of baguette. Therefore, the hunt search for the baguette Roti John led me to Bedok North. There is one Roti John stall at Kaki Bukit 511 Food Centre just nearby this temporary Merlion. Whereas that I can find Roti John. Okay, plan B. Go to Paya Lebar and walk to Hague Road Food Centre. Rosie and Nora, one of the most recognizable Roti John stall in the whole Singapore, just opened. Thus I ordered their signature dish. And here it is, the moment you're waiting for, Roti John made in Singapore. The dish looks simple, but trust me, it's good. Baguette is quite chewy, unlike soft bun that is easy to tear. The secret sauce is the star of the plate. Warm bread and tingly sweet, spicy and sour sauce is a perfect pair. After seeing Roti John served at the Hague Road Food Centre, you might wondering why Roti John in Malaysia is so different than the one at Hague Road. The popularity of Roti John spread across the causeway, despite it was not clear who brought the Roti John recipe into Malaysia first. In the Straits Times newspaper dated 10th of April 1983, the reporter wrote that the best Roti John was served in Penang. There was Roti John in Johor too, and rather pathetic offerings in Singapore. By this point, it was known that Roti John started to appear in Malaysia, but it was not clear what was the name of the hawker who sold so-called the best Roti John in Penang and its location. I want to try the so-called best Roti John, to be honest. In the Straits Times newspaper dated 9th of September 1986, Roti John was sold at Kartini Western Food in Pertama Complex in the middle of Kuala Lumpur. Owned by Kartini Abu Bakar and M. Rosli, they asked the incoming customers if they want to try Roti John. Burger is more popular at that time and nobody knows what Roti John is. It was reported that some people laughed when they heard it for the first time. Why is this name John, not Tom or Dick and Harry? Despite the unfamiliarity, they managed to sell 200 Roti John sets per day. And here is the interesting part. Kartini believed that she and her husband is the only one selling Roti John in the whole Kuala Lumpur. Back in 1986, only one place selling Roti John in the whole city of Kuala Lumpur. That one. In Berita Harian Singapura dated 7th of February 1991, Khazali Mansour moved from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur and sells Western style food including Roti John. Mr. Khazali explained that the bread used for Roti John is not the same as baguette used in Singapore due to supply issues. One Roti John sold for RM1.70 on weekdays and RM1.50 on weekends at Jalan Tuanku Abdul Rahman Night Market, in a time when the median salary is around RM800. From this point onwards, the bread used for making Roti John in Malaysia has changed from baguette to long bun. Verdict: try and find any Roti John seller in Malaysia selling baguette instead of long bun. I dare you. Bun is commonly found in Malaysian cities and towns, as there are bakeries making plain long buns that can be filled with fillings such as kaya chocolate and old school margarine with sugar. Classic. How has Roti John changed from using baguette to long bun and from a cup of vinegary chili sauce into a monstrosity of flood of sauce? We should thank Ramly Burger sellers for the innovation. Did you notice that sometimes burger stalls also sell Roti John as well? The common ingredients that can be used for making both burger and Roti John: bun bread, Ramly burger patty, lettuce, cucumber slices and free-flowing chili sauce and mayonnaise. As Singapore-style Roti John is nowhere to be found in Malaysia, how about we try to make it our own? Therefore, welcome to Fami World Food, where we make our own Roti John using baguette at home. Instead of using long bun, Roti John will be made of baguette. Thus, step 1. Buy a baguette. Step 1 is already a challenge, as only a few places in Kuala Lumpur selling baguette without branding it and make it exclusive, kind of a fancy cuisine française. The easiest way to find baguette is at Aeon La Boheme Bakery, but remember, sometimes they can run out of baguette. I bought this baguette at Aeon Mid Valley. For one person serving, cut the bread into half or a third length. The whole baguette will not fit onto the pan. Anyway, it is big, long and hot. Step number 2. Recipe for 2 people. Recipe for 1 person. You need 2 eggs, half teaspoon of fennel, half teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon curry powder, a pinch of salt and half onion diced. Mix all together. If 2 people, just double ingredients, times 2. Step 3. Pour the egg mix into the pan, then quickly press the baguette onto the egg mix. There is another way, which is pouring the egg mix onto the bread and then the bread put all together in a pan. This is the way Roti John was made at former Taman Serasi, which is the same method used at Rosie and Nora. Step 4. Cook about 2 to 3 minutes until the egg fully cooked. Flip to reheat the top of the baguette. Remove from the pan and ready to serve. Almost. What makes Roti John in Singapore tricky to replicate in Malaysia is not only because of the bread type but also because of the sauce. The chili sauce served with Rosie and Nora Roti John is little spicy with a hint of sweet and vinegary sourness. Some blogs claim that you can simply mix chili sauce, ketchup and some water to get the Roti John sauce, but I tried and it's not tastes the same. The secret sauce recipe of Taman Serasi is the Krabby Patty secret formula of Roti John. Nevertheless, let me tell you the nearest replacement of Roti John secret sauce. Just use keropok lekor sauce. Not the same, but this is the nearest I can ever get to the original. But sorry, there's no footage or video of the final product of me eating Roti John because the smell tastes so good. Malaysian style Roti John is easier to make than Singaporean style, as bun is easier to find than baguette. Bun can be stored easily and lasted for weeks. Baguette only lasted for at most 2 days, not good for stock hoarding. Chili sauce, mayonnaise and fake cheese can be bought easily compared to the secret sauce dipping that only a few knew the secret formula. Thus, Roti John that Malaysian knew is the sloppy saucy bun with meat, lettuce and cucumber, not the one with the baguette and secret sauce. Malaysian style Roti John has slowly gained a footing in Singapore, especially during Ramadan, where Malaysian vendors cook saucy and sloppy Roti John at Ramadan bazaars in Singapore. As a result, original version of Roti John slowly disappeared and difficult to find. Even the Roti John stall at Serangoon Garden, the successor of Taman Serasi Roti John, has long closed. To date, I could only find 2 stalls in hawker centre in Singapore that sells Roti John with baguette. One, Rosie and Nora at Hague Road Food Centre just across Wisma Geylang Serai. 2, Roti John Nur Jannatul Naim at Kaki Bukit 511 Food Centre. If you know more places with Roti John served with baguette in Singapore, please share the location in the comment section. As a closure, this video is not aimed to find who made Roti John first, who is number 1. That is not the objective. The objective of my mission in Lion City is to understand how does Roti John becomes part of food culture in Malaysia and Singapore as well. If it's scream of originality or who made it first, takoyaki in Osaka, Japan is way more authentic than any takoyaki in both Malaysia and Singapore. Takoyaki comes from Osaka, not Old Airport Road. Furthermore, takoyaki means grilled octopus, and only a few takoyaki stalls in Malaysia has octopus in takoyaki. And there are so many fillings in so-called takoyaki in Singapore and Malaysia. There are chicken, crab, fish, prawn, calamari, everything but the octopus. Taco. No taco in takoyaki. However, everyone will agree that takoyaki differs between here and in Japan due to ingredients, cost and local taste buds. The same with Roti John. The recipe changed to suit the local demand and availability of supply and its cost. No matter what type of your favorite Roti John is, either baguette with secret chili sauce or bun drenched in the sea of sauces, it is definitely a people's choice to end the day. Like myself, buying Roti John, daging to end my hectic workday. A cross-border culture shaped by necessity and convenience for a fulfilling night snacking. If you want to eat Roti John, the food is sold widely across Malaysia. The most common ways to find Roti John is by going to a burger stall or night market if you are lucky. Roti John Titi Wangsa is located at Jalan Datuk Keramat. By LRT Kelana Jaya Line, go to Datuk Keramat Station, exit to the only exit of the station, turn left and cross the road. Roti John Titi Wangsa is on your right. There is a parking area behind the shop, but it can be easily full on the weekends. If you decided to try Roti John made out of baguette, you may visit Rosie and Nora at Hague Road Food Centre just across the road from Wisma Geylang Serai. Take MRT to Paya Lebar Station, walk across Sims Avenue, cross road towards Tanjung Katong Road until you reach Geylang Road. Turn left and Hague Road Food Centre is across the road. If you want to visit Roti John Jannatul Naim, its location is at Kaki Bukit 511 Food Centre. From MRT Bedok North Station on Downtown Line, take bus number 137 to Block 510 bus stop. Or from MRT Bedok on East West Line, take the same bus number 137 from Bedok Bus Interchange to Block 515 bus stop. Different lists in the form of articles is in the description for your further reference. Thank you so much for watching. I have learned something new about Roti John and how baguette with egg served in Singapore turned into a saucy night snack in Malaysia. Thank you so much for watching again and see you in the next video.